Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This is the second in my designs for Christmas cards this year. And I am using a wonderful paper out of the new catalog that is called All Is Bright Designer Series paper. And it is made up of some really pretty patterns. This pattern is a diagonal stripe on a red, and it's got this realistic photo of foliage on the other side with berries. And let's see, it's got this pretty Christmas stockings and then a subtle pattern of green, darker green stars against a lighter green background. This one has pine cones and then polka dots, pretty. And then this one has dots of all different colors here that are in here. And this photorealistic is a little bit different in that it has these ornaments in it. And the last one is this one, which has the Christmas lights on one side in a very subtle pattern of just mottled kind of green on the other side here. And so that is the paper that I'm using, and the back side of this particular paper that I'm using has a very subtle pattern of poinsettias. So that is it. All Is Bright Designer Series paper, and that will be available beginning on September the 5th. So other components to this this is take two for me. So here is my piece of the Designer Series paper already mounted onto my card base, and it is 5 1/4 by, no it's not. It is 3 3/4 by 5. Then we need a piece of gold foil that is, I think this is 3 1/8 by 3 3/4, and I'm using out of the new catalog something called the Dashing Deer, and this is the framelit, one of the framelit dies of a leaping deer, and so you need a piece about that size to cut out your paper. Then we need a piece of very vanilla for our cinnamon here that's 3/4 by 3 1/4, and this piece of gold foil is 1 inch by 3 1/2. And then we need a piece of vellum that is 2 1/2 by 4. Yes, 2 1/2 by 4. And that's all we need to make this, and it's actually quite a fast card. Now, I've already cut out my deer to save a little bit of time. So let's just get started here. And as you can see, I've already mounted my piece of Designer Series paper here to the front of my card. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my deer and mount it onto this piece of vellum. And on this one, I have his front knee and his back foot going off, and I think on this one I'm going to get as much of him on the vellum as I can, so I'm going to increase the angle at which he's leaping there. So for this, gosh, I don't see my silicone mat. So what I'm going to do is put some snail on the back of my deer. I am going to use a piece of this paper here that's on the back of the dimensionals because it's glossy, and it'll allow me to get my snail on there and not get it all over my work surface. Because what I want to make sure I do is that I get his antenna, or his rack here glued up, and then I'm going to place him so that his feet and his antlers and his knees are all on the vellum. And there, I've got that, I think. Might hang off just a hair, but that's pretty good. And then what I did was I just cut this bottom piece into a little bit of a very shallow tag here by flagging the bottom. And that's what I'm going to do there. See if I can't, but that's hard to see. All right, so now there's my tag all done, and I'm going to set that at the top and a little bit off to this side on my card. And what I'm going to do is turn this over, and I'm going to, actually I think I used dimensionals. I'm going to add some dimensionals here in a couple of spots. Okay, now that's all ready to go on my card here. And I'm just going to put that right up to the top of the paper and more to the left side here. There we go. All right, then the next thing I need to do is do my stamping. So I have a Merry Christmas stamp mounted here, all ready to go, and then I'm using the from the Merry Christmas to All out of the new catalog, this May This Beauty of the Season Fill Your Heart with Joy, which is a very large stamp. Here it is, and I'm going to use my Versamark here, and I'm going to treat my little strip, and I have a Merry Christmas, a long Merry Christmas here, and I think this is from the Star of Light Christmas stamp set. And I'm going to get that set down here. Any Merry Christmas that is long will work, or season's greetings, or any number of things. Okay, so that's all set. And then the other place I have my stamping is this rather large stamp that, let's see, I need to use my embossing buddy here on the inside of my card. And use my Versamark. Okay, and then this I'm going to put right down here, right centered in the middle. And because this is such a large stamp, you need to make sure that you get pressure on this stamp all the way on all of the ends, the tails of the words, and don't forget the center. In earlier working with this, I was having trouble getting an image in the center. And there we go. Now let's see how we did. I've got some gold embossing powder here. There we go. All right, now I'll quiet the video while I use my heat tool . So there we have our inside message, And we have our exterior here ready to go. And this, I'm just going to use snail on the back of this piece. And I'm sticking this piece right up against the edge, bottom edge, and the right edge, so that the gold foil frames on two sides my Merry Christmas. And then I'm going to set my Merry Christmas down here, and I'm going to use some dimensionals on the back of this. So I'm going to set my Merry Christmas down here. Right side up would be good. Right here along this edge. And I'm going to move it just below the panel that is on here so that I don't interfere with my vellum tag. And on this one, I did cut a little strip of gold foil to put along the edge on the inside. So this is a 1/4 inch piece, and then it is 5 1/2. So what I'm going to do is cut it just a little bit past 5 1/2 so that I can trim it to fit perfectly. So here's my piece that is cut at 1/4 inch by 5 1/2, and I'm going to just put some snail carefully, because I don't know. I'm redoing my craft room, and so right at the moment where certain things are is a little bit of a mystery. And when it all gets put back together, I'm sure everything will reappear just the way it's supposed to. But there are several pieces in my craft room right now that are missing in action. So hopefully by next week I'll have this all done. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our piece of gold on the inside. And so all of the elements that are on the inside are brought to the outside are brought to the inside. And there it is. That's the project. The only other thing I did was I used some of our gold pearls here, and I dotted a few of these gold pearls around the front of my card. I put one right here near my Merry Christmas. I set one out here, right here on the vellum piece. And I think I ended up putting one right in here and one more right up here in the corner, again on the vellum. And there we have it. That is the project for today. And as you can see, it is quite a fast little card. And one of those where the designer series paper did an awful lot of the heavy lifting for us to make this card. So there we have it. The one that we made today is this one. And see, depending on where you place this tag, in this one I had the tag coming over the top of the Merry Christmas, and this one I lowered it just a little bit so that it wouldn't interfere. Your choice. So there we go. There's this second of the Christmas cards. You're going to just love this wonderful catalog that's coming out in just 4 or 5 days now. And if you're one of my customers, you've probably already received this catalog in the mail. If not, it should be there any minute. And if for some reason you don't have a catalog and you don't have another demonstrator, be happy to be your demonstrator, and I'd be happy to get you a copy of this wonderful Christmas catalog. And let's see, the prize draw, let's see, this is September now, so now I have to have a new prize draw. Maybe I can make it one of the bundles. How about we make it the Dashing Deer bundle that has this wonderful die in it, and I will make that the prize draw for the month of September. So it will be the Dashing Deer bundle, and I'll draw my winner for last month's, the Tropical Chic bundle, and I should have that, my newsletter, out this afternoon, and some of those kinds of details will be in there. So thanks so much for stopping by and visiting my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And like I said, if you don't already have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, and or you could join my team. People who qualify for the drawing, all you have to do is place an order with me on my website, and that's all it takes. So I'll be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye!